Hey, Camp Mavericks, it's Travis. We have a special mini episode for you today featuring Pat from PikMyKid. PikMyKid is an advertiser on the Camp Mavericks and Go Camp Pro network and a sponsor of all things camp. You'll see in this video that it is not just a longer ad for them, but instead, I did an interview where I really focused on some of the thought behind and the parent experiences behind this product so that I could be sure that the stuff that we're delivering to you is useful to you. And I think there's some great insights. Pat's a really great guy with some really cool life experiences that he was more than happy to share. And then we got around to talking about their product. And we think this is a product that deserves to be on the network. We're really careful with people that advertise with us that it is stuff that is helpful and useful to you as Camp Mavericks. So I hope you enjoy this show. As a camp director, have you ever asked yourself, how can I better incentivize my staff to take part and excel at this job? Do you, as a camp professional, spend the time and talk to your parents to see, talk about their experiences with your camp programs? Hello, Camp Mavericks. It's Travis from CampHacker. I am excited today to be here with Pat Bhava. Pat, welcome to the show.
Hey, great to be here. Thanks for the invite.
I'm having a conversation with Pat today about a parent's perspective on things and the solution that Pat has created for some of those problems that are very real struggles within our programs. And so, Pat, your solution comes out of a problem that you yourself experienced, right?
Yeah, sure. So my background, I built and sold a few different businesses. I was in the Navy flying fighters and really, managing technology at larger scale.
Yeah.
But when I went to pick up my daughter from school, reality dawns and,
Yeah.
day-to-day grind, waiting in school lines and seeing the problem firsthand. That's when, really decided to take this on and help my daughter's school. And there are various aspects which really triggered me and which technology could do a lot of difference to schools to make them efficient.
Yeah.
So that really got us started. Very
That's
thought
great.
to help schools with technology.
Yeah. And I am so grateful for that perspective where you come out of a world that is so built into creating systems to solve problems and looking for ways to make things run more efficiently and smoothly. And of course, in the fighter pilot world, more safely. And I'm so grateful for the way your brain thinks about those kind of things. What for you, sitting in the car waiting to pick up your daughter, when you were looking around, how did your brain see the problem in front of you?
Sure. So the problem, not so much as I cooked up, the problem landed on my lap.
Yeah.
Let me give you the background. So I sold my last business. I told my wife I'm going to take a few months off, not really do much.
Yeah.
So here I was, a couch potato, sitting there watching Netflix all day long. And my wife was like, the least you can do to be helpful around the house is go pick up your daughter from school.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, how hard can this be? Put Netflix on pause, jump in the car, go to my school, 30,
Back in
40
10
minutes.
minutes.
Yeah. But I went there, completely different chaos, like 50, 60 cars, 20 teachers running around with walkie-talkies. It was a mess.
Yeah.
So I'm in this car line, 30, 40 minutes later, I move to the head of the line. The teacher really stressed out with a walkie-talkie. She opens the door, puts the kid in my car, waves me away. And, I just stepped on the gas and I wanted to just get out of there. And as I was pulling out, I turned around and I wanted to ask my daughter how her day was. And I'm looking at this white kid sitting in the back of my car.
Yeah.
That was my, oh shit, or aha moment, whatever you call it.
Yeah.
And I said, geez, how often must this be happening in schools across the country? And just a small back of the envelope calculation, it told me there are 40 million students being put into cars every single day. The scale of the problem is immense, and there is no solution because I wanted to do the easiest way: go buy a product from the shelf, give it to my school, get back to my Netflix, right? But it was not so easy because there's nothing available in the market. Teachers are, left to their own devices. They are doing the best they can. And parents are screaming and impatient. And here we are in all this mix. We are leaving the safety of our children up in the air. And I think it behooves on us to do better. And that is what really spurred to help my daughter's school figure things out. And I thought it would be an easy fix, but it turned out to be a little bit more involved than that. And here we are 5 years from the day when they put another kid in my car. We are now in every state in the country. We are in 7 countries outside the US. We have over 1 million parents using it daily. And we're growing rapidly. So it gives you satisfaction looking back.
Yeah, amazing. And I definitely want to spend some time and talk about PikMyKid. I would love to spend a couple more minutes, if you don't mind, on just that the way that you look at systems and the way you've trained your brain to look at that. Just obviously the first time this happens is kind of a chaos and frustration and sitting through absorbing a system. But what's the question in your head? When you're looking at this, thinking this can't be it.
Yeah, so I'll just take it full circle to my background, what you mentioned earlier on. I came from a fighter pilot background, where safety is paramount. But we, in order to ensure safety, we use A, technology, and B, we use checklists. We are a checklist junkie, right? Everything has to have a system, a process, and a replicable way day in and day out to do something, right? Today's schools have a replicable way of doing something, but very manual, very tedious, very labor intensive. And there's no sense of technology being implied into that whole process. So what really came to forefront for me was, my wife being in the whole technology background and really, technology enabled services. I think we are in the right time and space in terms of evolution, that technology was dime a dozen. It was available at our fingertips. Yet we didn't see that being adapted into that dismissal process to make our kids safer. And those are the dots I connected. My background with using technology, improving safety, and just creating a process.
Right. Well, and if you'll pardon me, I want to stick on the process piece of it, because there's a difference between we have a process and that's just set. And a quote that you hear in summer camp all the time, but you hear it in every organization. We've always done it that way. It's a mentality shift, I think, to start to look at processes and say, how can we make this just a little bit easier for everybody? No one's happy. The kids aren't happy. The parents definitely aren't happy, and the teachers don't love it. And if they'd been a teacher for anything longer than 10 or 15 years, this would have never been the way it used to be when they got started. This became, as society changed, the expectations on the teachers and the schools to do this has changed. But I'm really interested in that mentality. I'm going to pick your brain since I have you here. How do you teach people to have that? We set up processes, we evaluate them, we change them.
Yeah. So the word which comes to my mind, and really I share it with our school staff all the time, is tropophobia. That is our biggest competitor. It's fear of change.
There you go.
So they've done something for so long in such a manner that they fear change. They fear that, oh my God, if I do something different, it may break, or I may be held responsible for something if it goes wrong, right? So, and our education system, for better or worse, it disincentivizes, innovation, and that's why we are a little bit in the back burner when it comes to really getting in the forefront of innovation using technology effectively, right? So when I looked at the entire process, when my child got lost in the dismissal process, my initial reaction was to go to the principal and really share my ideas. And all I asked him was, hey, can I shadow you for a day, understand what your challenges are, and understand where are the breakpoints in the daily routine of the school. And me as a parent, I could get some perspectives to make it better. And the principal earlier, he was so accommodative. He answered all my stupid questions, and he let me into his world. And what it really taught me was, I amalgamated me as a parent, my experiences, along with what are the school staff's experience they face on a daily basis. Where are the conflicts? Where are the friction points, and how can we solve them? Right. So I can rattle off a few things right away. The biggest tension point was dismissal. Right. So dismissal is the high point of chaos. But leading up to the dismissal, there's a lot of these points where there's a lot of friction. Say me as a parent, if I have to call the school to change dismissals, like, hey, let my daughter ride the bus or let her go to an after school program. It is a tedious task. I have to call a number, go to the front desk, ask my school staff, ask for the teacher, say what needs to be transferred. She'll write a little note. And when I interact with the principal, I notice they're taking phone calls whole day long, writing sticky notes, sending it to every teacher. Teacher is like keeping track of the sticky notes and also emails in the end of the day to make sure Johnny goes in the right bus or car or whatever be the case. So that was one facet. And I saw the whole spectrum of that problem, right? That was ripe to be solved. The next is, custody issues. It's such an important thing, such a vital part in which parents demand schools comply, but schools are legally bound to be compliant to that, but they don't have the tools to make sure that, hey, the dad doesn't have the ability or doesn't have the legal authority to pick up the kid on a Tuesday. And they don't have systems and checks and balances to really ensure that, right? And they're held liable if something goes wrong. And that's a big concern for our school staff. And the next thing is, messages. I as a parent, I get so much nonsense emails, text messages from school, which doesn't concern my daughter, but I get bombarded. And over time, I get immune to that. So what if there is a system which hyper focuses the messages I get, which concerns my daughter and nobody else, right? So I brought all these all these pain points together, and we wanted to create a comprehensive solution which not only addresses dismissal, but after school programs and able to make sure kids get on the right car, right bus. Also the messages, parental engagement, and really the custody issues are all, technology takes care of 90% of the stuff. All the teachers do is come in the front or end of the camp day, the camp staff wave, happy smile, talk about good stuff, and not really worry about this mundane, high-risk task, which technology can take care of in the back end.
Right. Well, and it's a great point too. If camps have kids coming, over multiple weeks, and some camps will have kids at camp for 8 weeks of the summer. In that time, people's custody arrangements might change. There might be people go on vacation, so other people get added to the list. And that I can picture the printed off emails, which is one of my big pet peeves. People who print their emails, but printed off emails and text messages from parents and the post-it notes, as you said, just a clipboard full of all of these different
another
things.
Funny part, another tedious part, which I didn't mention, is when I bring my daughter, say she's just gone into second grade, right? I bring her in the beginning of the year. I'm supposed to fill out an emergency card who the emergency person would be to be released to. And that card gets filed away in some shelf for the rest of the year. For the rest of the year, I don't have any flexibility to pick who has to pick up my kid if I'm stuck in office.
Right.
And the schools have to go to that locked shelf, pull out the little card, and they have to go by the two people I've written on. And the same thing for camps, right? Things change. People are having fun during summer, right? And plans change day to day, and we deserve to give the parents the flexibility, or the parents deserve the flexibility to be able to do what they want and how they want to pick up their children, and without disturbing us as camp staff. And the system allows to do that, if that makes sense.
Right. Well, I think that's a great cue to switch, more specifically to PikMyKid. So this was the software solution that you designed based on your frustrations and the frustrations that you saw of other families, and you address some. One of the things that interests me the most is that you're really addressing the concerns of our clients as camp people. And we often have solutions that are designed for camp people and don't necessarily involve the parents or even take into account the parents' perspective. So you had this very unusual, well, not unusual, I think pretty common experience that was frustrating, and dangerous. We haven't even asked what happened to your daughter or if she got put in another car. But then you designed the software to account for that. So from let's just start with the parent's perspective. What do the parents see if a camp is to sign up with PikMyKid? What do the parents see in what they have on their phone?
Sure. So that is a very valid point, right? So as a parent, when my kids go to a camp, I want to be able for them to have fun at the same time, me to have the flexibility of staying in touch with my my school staff or my camp staff if any changes happens along the day, right?
Yep.
And in the end of the day, if I have to pick up any changes on that aspect, I should be able to do it seamlessly. And the third part is, if the camp has any reason for which they need to contact me instantaneously, right? Camp
Yep.
is a fun place, but at the same time, it can be a challenging place for kids because it's new environment, new surroundings, accidents happen, and even routine stuff. You may want to reach out to a parent and ask, hey, is your kid allergic to so and so, or this food or that food?
Yeah.
So there needs to be an open form of communication between the staff and the parents, and that is really vital, and our product really allows that to happen, not via email, because people think if they send an email it's
So
said and
many.
done, right?
Yeah.
Email takes 24 hours to open it on average,
Yeah.
whereas our app actually pushes real-time notifications via the app, which is like kind of a pop-up on your phone, so you're able to really be on top of your camp, what's going on there. At the same time, give you the convenience and the flexibility to manage your children in a way which you're comfortable with, which your staff is comfortable with, right? Even though we designed the product to be school specific earlier on, but as we started growing, we realized that we've been approached by a lot of camps in the
Yeah.
summer, and we said, you know what, the problem is the same. And we added a lot of features which really lend ourselves well to summer camps. And now we are seeing so much usage from the summer camp space that
Yeah.
we've got up. For example, I can give you this example, especially with the pandemic right now. School staff as well as now camp staff are telling us that, hey, we want parents to self-select or answer a questionnaire, a simple
Yeah.
questionnaire, right?
Yep.
That, hey, is my child fit enough and not had any exposure to, say, COVID or a fever
Yeah.
when I drop them off in the camp in the morning, right? And every parent demands the camps to make sure, but
Yep.
the camp in isolation cannot make sure unless every parent participates and self-certifies that their kid is okay.
Yeah.
And hopefully other kids will be okay too. So we've added this module at no cost this year, and it's been a real success,
Yeah. I bet.
both in schools and in camps. So
Right.
yeah, we are evolving, we are listening to our customers, and hopefully we can continue to grow in that aspect.
Yeah. Yeah. And also from what you described, Pat, you're cutting down on the number of different ways that that parents have to be connected to their schools. And lots of schools use Remind to send out messages in one way, but then they need but then parents still have to give out their cell phone number for the parents to text and say, my kid's not able to come in today, and then you have whatever it is, Google Classroom or whatever their online portal is for their learning, and this way parents can focus on one clean, easy way to communicate in both directions with their camp, throughout the time that they're sending their kid there.
Yep. And in addition to that, it's not just during the duration of the camp. What happens is we have made sure that our product is available for the camp staff, that it's fired up and ready for rest of the school year. So what happens, in the past years, we used to turn it off after the summer, and the
Yep.
camps told us that, hey, they'd love to stay connected with their parents.
Yes.
Because what happens is the parents who attend camp go back to regular schools in
Yeah.
which they're still using PikMyKid because they're using the same app to connect with their schools.
Yep.
And so the parents were happy to use the same application for their camps. And the camps love the fact that they don't have to start their email campaign and outreaches to a new list of parents. And they already have a captive audience in which they can send them timely messages.
Yep.
They're able to get engagement from there, and they can just add new people every year. And so it worked out both very well for both the parents and the camps
Right.
when we keep the portal up for rest of the year and they can
Yeah.
stay engaged and connected.
Yeah. Well, that also, I mean, it solves something that I talk about often in my presentations and on the podcast, frankly, that this ease of use for camps to reach their families, to reach them on their phone through a notification, is incredibly important throughout the year. That there are important deadlines that they need to know, but also just the ability in this connected world, camps can't continue to just say goodbye to kids at the end of July or August, whenever the session finishes, and then expect to send one email in January, and the parents are just going to sign up for camp, and that'll be it. They have to continually work to earn the trust of those families. And if they have a tool that allows them to send out just good resources, hey, we're thinking about our families in the community and saw this cool thing happening. All of that builds the trust that in the end makes the job easier the next year to get those families to just say, yes, of course, we want to send our kids back.
Or if nothing else, just send a Christmas greeting, right? And the end of the year. Also, Happy New Year. So they're like, kids have nice memories about the camp. And that is a reminder that, hey, we look forward to seeing you this summer, right? So that's a nice personal touch. And you can use technology in a non-invasive or non-intrusive manner to do that.
Right. That's great. That's great. So, Pat, if camps are interested in finding more about PikMyKid, where should they go to?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same approach we take, is that we encourage every customer or every camp who wants to discover more about PikMyKid to go to our website. There's a big red button that says schedule a demo, because we want them to know about the product first. And we jump on a call one-on-one with our consultant. We really analyze how the work cycle goes in the camp and what the expectations are. And I'll be very blunt here. We may not be the best fit for every people there, every campsite or every school. And we're very honest and transparent about that, because if there is not a fit, we will recommend what to do or how to go about it, because we have a lot of knowledge and experience within our team to recommend best practices. But if we are able to help with our platform, we make sure cost is not a factor. We go out of our way to make sure it's affordable for camps as well as any small daycares, because our mission is what drives us, which is making children safe at school and also making it easier for teachers and staffers. We know they have a stressful day, and at the end of the day, when everything is done, we don't want it to be the peak of stress, and rather, start ratcheting down that so they can have a good evening with their families.
Right. Yeah, of course. So just in the examples we've been talking about, we've mostly been talking about day camps, because those families come every day. So it's obviously a similar pattern to school drop-off. But do you have sleepover camps or overnight camps that use it too, that they would use this for opening, drop-off day and pickup day?
It's a good question, and we've been approached by several such camps, and I can say that we are being used in different ways by camps which have those just drop off and then pick up after 2 weeks kind of camps. So they use it more for the emergency tools we have in place. So we haven't even talked about. So we're not just, even though we started as PikMyKid for the dismissal automation piece, eventually our mission was to provide all safety tools under one comprehensive platform. So now our umbrella company is actually called Kidio, Kidio.io. And we encompass all emergency management tools under one platform through a single sign-on. So not only are you able to manage the automated dismissals and arrivals and check-ins and all those other good stuff, but you're also able to manage emergency. You have all the tools like digital panic button for any emergency, bear on campus, fire, whatever be the case, and you're able to hyper configure your call list. Every call, every emergency is not a 911 call, or
of course,
every 911 call is not an emergency. So we're able to hyper customize our emergency platform for schools and camps in the way they like to manage their system. So
that's great. That's really smart.
That you see.
Excellent. Okay. Well, Pat, I'm so grateful to have you on today and to get some of your time. Camp Mavericks, if you're interested in this, you go to the website and book a call and have a chat with PikMyKid and see how they can help you out.
Thanks. Travis. Fun chatting with you, and time really flew.
Well, I'm so grateful for your time. That's awesome. Thanks a lot, Pat.
Thank you so much.